Hi guys, so I'm going to do a relatively brief breakdown and spoiler review of Camp Cretaceous Season 3. So coming off of Season 2, it seemed like the campers' options for escape were pretty limited, and the villains of that season met their demise at the hands of the Baryonyxes. My first thought was that the Baryonyx is known as a piscivore, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, so the two on the boat could get off and swim back to shore. And that's what I thought was going to happen until that teaser for season 3, where the campers created a raft. But eventually, as we see in the beginning of the episodes, that they were eventually able to acquire the boat. And now, obviously, because this happened early on, we knew that the campers weren't going to get off that easily. And eventually, they run into some new and familiar dinosaurs. And as I saw online, the captions were a bit off, with some names like Monolophosaurus, and even some character names like Simon or Ronnie. And some of the new locations were pretty neat, and how to enhance some of the characters more than the previous season, I think. And I like the Easter eggs sprinkled in with the references to the Jurassic Park's Visitor Center, escaping the car, and even the return to the kitchen, and also the Lost World's rope escape. Now for E750, Scorpius Rex, it definitely isn't pretty looking, and it kind of reminded me of those early concepts of those human-like hybrids of early Jurassic Park 4 scripts. And the cloud of horror that the Scorpius Rex brought was ever present. Now, my eyes definitely widened during those moments, and literally my reaction to seeing that the Scorpius Rex asexually reproduced, my reaction was like, what? And the whole action sequence in the visitor center was quite tense. Then when the campers were finally able to get off the island and let Ben convince himself he can bring his more realized self to the mainland, it was kind of annoying that they got stopped by the mercs. And then there was a moment when I thought to myself, right after they say goodbye, they farewell to Blue, and then just kind of peacefully go back to the docks. Then I was thinking, Rexy sure isn't bothering them, only to have a brilliant tie-in to Fallen Kingdom. And then with Dr. Wu also coming back to the island, this made me also really happy because there was a fan fiction story that I was working on prior to Fallen Kingdom, and it briefly had Wu returning to the island. So now I finally know where I can bring some things and bridge those moments that I really wanted to years past. So getting back to the main plot, I was intrigued on how far these mercs would go to help Wu get what he needs for the Indoraptor, and like what they do with the kids. And one piece of dialogue I think that'll be further explored in Dominion is when Wu is talking about being a visionary who pushes the boundary of science, and then he tells Brooklyn that like I hopefully that you will come to understand that. And then what I really liked was that Brooklyn had something to say as she was kidnapped, that true visionaries would help the world become a better place and not make it worse, and that hopefully Wu comes to see that. And I think there'll be a moment of epiphany in Dominion with Wu's agenda in the Jurassic World arc that'll help him realize that moment. Now, overall, it was really interesting to see these friendships being made stronger, and some of them were strained in some areas, meaning that they're not perfect, but the campers can still grow to rely on each other to get back home. And now with the ending left hanging, and from what I've been hearing online about the uncertainty of another season, I do hope we get to see more. And me personally, I'd love to see them go to Isla Sorna as a result of whatever is on board with them, because I have a fun theory that would involve Mamadou Atiye, if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, as Darius's older brother. And the cast of Dominion could potentially go to Sorna and bump inadvertently uh, to the island and rescue the kids. But whatever happens, I thought season 3 was probably the best, with the final few episodes really sealing the deal for me, and I'd love to see more.